Hey, patrol members. Welcome back on a nice, cool winter's day. It's approximately 68 degrees outside, and it is 2:36. I will put the temperature around here and the metric time. And I hope you like the little Ranwood Park video. I sound like an old person talking about kids. How nice, you have a little video channel. I hope you like the video about Ranwood Park. It's supposed to rain this afternoon and tomorrow, and maybe into Sunday and Monday. I'm not sure. You know, the weather around here is just so screwed up, you know. But we're going to get into the Packard, the Batmobile Packard, the 58, and we're going to get into the 52. I have to move it, so I'm going to take you with me to move it. You're going to be here for that. And then I'm going to start working on stuff in earnest. I really need to do that. I really need to do that. And today, we're going to be tasting and reviewing Rod and Hammer's Slow Stills Winter Spice Whiskey right there. What do you think? It's a nice bottle. It's all debossed, right? And whiskey with natural flavor, 70 proof. San Luis Obispo, slow made, because that's where I bought it. When I went up there, if you saw the video about the San Luis Obispo Superior Court, I bought this while we were up there. Cut with the Pacific. rodandhammer.com, followed by Rod and Hammer's Slow Stills, San Luis Obispo, California, Aero Vista. A warning, according to the Surgeon General, if you drink this, you'll fall asleep and wake up on Mars or Barsoom. You'll have convulsions, you'll puke, you'll wreck your car, you'll wreck your airplane, you'll wreck your boat, you'll wreck your bicycle, you'll wreck your roller skates, you'll wreck your Hot Wheels, you'll wreck everything. And your family will leave you, or they'll kick you out. You'll become a homeless derelict, sucking the alcohol out of Sterno through a piece of French bread. Or you'll be drinking Aqua Velva or something. But that's what will happen if you drink this. Now, California infused whiskey cut with the Pacific. Indulge in a smooth winter warmer crafted from our straight bourbon whiskey infused with notes of nutmeg, allspice, clove, and cinnamon. Sip and savor the festive season in every inviting glass and discover how California does whiskey. And apparently Rod and Hammer are people. And it's cloudy. That's obviously the spices, so you should shake it before you serve it. And I'm going to trim the seal. And it is not a screw top, it is cork. That is a very, very nice aroma. Whew. Kind of tickles the nose a little bit. We'll get on to that in a second. Woo! My nose got tickled. Excuse me. But first, let's strike a light on this Quorum. Quorum Shade, handcrafted in Nicaragua by the J.C. Newman Cigar Company. They're good cigars. I've bought a bundle of them. That's a pretty mild cigar. It's a Connecticut leaf. I've said this before. I've had them on the show before. It's very, very good. Man, this view is beautiful. Fluffy white clouds, brilliantly lit at the top, with flat bottoms that are almost black. Big patches of open blue sky, little birds flying high, high, high up in the air. They're probably ravens or some kind of raptor. Look at that. That's a big old jetliner. Sailing to God knows where. Well, there's a weird little white dot out there. Hang on. It's like a little Cessna. Way out in the distance. Well, for any of my viewers that follow on Merlin's Old School Garage, we're heading out there the 14th, 15th, and 16th of March for his 55th birthday. We've got a space reserved, and we're kind of excited to go. There's going to be a lot of people there. And am I going to get to spend time with Merlin and his cousin Paul and all their families? Probably not. So I'm not the only people going. That's going to hope to meet him. But hey, we were hoping to we're hoping to at least catch a glimpse of him and spend 3 relaxing days. You know, once it really starts getting warm out here in the desert around the middle of April, It's not a lot of fun to go there, but that's just the way it is. And I'm sorry I haven't been doing a lot of Mojave patrolling this year, but man, there's been a lot of stuff going on, and I just have not been able to do it. But you know what? I think coming up here we're going to do something. Don't know what yet. But something. So, let's not dawdle. Let's not dawdle. Of course, I've got a cigar. Got cherry Kool-Aid. Oh man. Cherry Kool-Aid with a cigar. That's a ticket. Okay, my glass of choice tonight is this antique glass. It's uranium glass. And yes, if you put a Geiger counter on it, it's going to click. Because I've done it. I know, I've done it. Okay. It's got this cute little gift tag right here. Better to smoke here than hereafter. Has a really warm smell. Yes, you can smell that those spices, the nutmeg and the clove. You can smell that stuff. A little bit of cinnamon. Man, I feel like hauling out to Holly. Candles around the spinet. I mean, no, candles on the window. Carols around the spinet, yes. And in case you don't know what a spinet is, it's a piano. And it's a brand of piano. Alright. Very old brand. Like, I want to say 1820s old. But it could be full of crap. Well, let's give this a try, huh? Oh, yeah. A little bit of bayberry. Here we go. Smooth. That's an old joke, huh? Got a good hug, about down to here. You can definitely taste those spices. Definitely taste those spices. It's a little sweet. Now, I'm not much of a sweet drink person, but this is okay. This is okay. It's not too sweet. Well, this is the Mojave Patrol whiskey review. So let's talk about the Mojave Desert. I've been going out to the Mojave Desert since I was knee-high to a grasshopper, or about 8. And my dad was a rock hound. Now, he may have been a lot of things that weren't great. But I'd be a liar if I said I never learned anything from the guy. And he was really into lapidary, which was rock hounding, making jewelry out of agates and petrified wood and Indian tears and things like that, right? He was really into that when my mom was alive. You know, when my mom passed, that all went by the wayside. But when my mom was alive, he was really into that. And every holiday, every spare moment we had, we were in the car on our way to the desert. And the two cars we took to the desert were either a 1954 Buick Roadmaster or a 1964 or 65 Ford Country Squire station wagon. And that's what we would take. And he would drive off-road. He'd off-road those cars. I mean, seriously off-road them. Drive up in the canyons and dry washes and all kinds of stuff like that, right? And we camp, dry camp. No campgrounds. You dry camp, you know. If you had to go, you dropped your drawers out in the desert. That was just, you know, there you went. Okay? So, anyway, we did a lot of stuff like that. And, you know, we had our adventures. We got stuck once for a day, and my dad and his best friend, and my brother and I, and my best friend's son, we went all out up to this place called Afton Canyon, and we got way out and we were stuck in that Ford station wagon. So he took off with his, you know, they threw some water in a backpack, and they took off to look for help, leaving my brother and I and this other kid to fend for ourselves while they were gone. And he handed me a BB gun, an old Crossman BB gun, and said, only use this as a last resort. It's a BB gun, right? Okay. So they took off, and about 2 hours later, they showed back up with these guys in dune buggies and hauled us out. I mean, real home-built dune buggies in those days, and it was kind of, not side by side, but you know, somebody had built these dune buggies. One had a V8, and the other was an inline six, and I remember that very distinctly. And I was fascinated with them, and they were young guys, and they pulled us right out of the sand, and you know, we made it out of there. But yeah. We did a lot of stuff like that. As a matter of fact, when my dad and my brother passed away, I took them to a place where we used to camp and interred their ashes in situ. I remember one time we were middle of winter out at the place we call the bunker. It was freezing cold. I mean, it wasn't 25 degrees outside. And my buddy, who's passed, Jimmy, he came out, and he had this old, like, 60-something Chevy pickup, and that was his pride and joy. Boy, he loved that truck. Anyway, he unloads his stuff, and he has a brand new four-man tent, and he sets it all up in this little depression, and says, "Yeah, buddy, I got this brand new tent. Can't wait to try it out." You know. So that night, we're sitting around, and we're sitting around the campfire, we're just drinking beers and smoking cigars, and BS and just having great fun. Jimmy finally's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go to bed." So he gets up and he takes off, right? So 5 minutes later, he shows up And he sits back down with another beer and he lights a cigarette, and he starts just sit there staring at the fire. And my buddy Corbin says, "I thought you were going to go to bed." And he says, "Well, I would, but my effing tent's gone." Well, he had set up this dome tent and didn't bother staking it down. And it was pretty windy. So at some point in the evening, when we were sitting around the campfire talking, the wind caught that tent and took it God knows where. We never did find it. Never did find it. He slept in the back of his truck. Fortunately, it was, there was no rain or anything. But it was a chilly night for him. Sleeping in the bed of his truck. Man. You hear that? It's either coyotes or kids. Another story about Jimmy was we were camping and we had a big fire. I mean, it was big. So Jimmy had taken his truck out and brought back his big railroad tie. And he throws it on the fire. And within seconds, it's fully involved. Big, long, burning hunk of creosote-soaked wood. Now, he had just, the day before, purchased a brand new, bright blue down jacket. I'm not going to be cold this weekend. So he's sitting there with a beer in his hand. Ever show you how I firewalk? And we're like, I don't know, Jimmy. That doesn't sound like a really good idea to me. Oh, no, it's easy, watch. And he hops up on that burning railroad tie, right? And he takes off across it. He gets to the middle, and the railroad tie rolls. And he does a 360 off that thing and lands in the fire. Now, that was this hardcore biker that used to go to the desert with us. His name was Tim. Like 6'5", real muscular guy. And I mean a hardcore biker. Drove his Harley to work every day, rain or shine. Had like slicks he put on, and a big old leather jacket. I don't even know if he's still alive. When I was 20-something, he was 35, so he's got to be at least 15 years older than me, so that would make him 85 if he's still alive. Anyway, Jimmy Brody's and goes right boosh into that fire. Tim stands up and grabs him out of the fire and picks him up over his head and flings him into the dirt. Right? And Jimmy stands up and he's brushing himself off and goes, Jesus Christ. I didn't burn my jacket, did I? And feathers are just blowing out of it. He's molten. Feathers are just shooting out of this jacket all over the place. So the next morning he's out in front of he's sitting on the tailgate of his truck with duct tape taping over all the holes in his jacket. Man, that was something else. I got a whole litany of stories about that guy. And one time he meets us out at the desert. And he's got this big old military field jacket. And he always sat in those really low lawn chairs, the ones that are like 6-8 inches off the ground. And he's sitting there and he's smoking, and he reaches into his jacket. He pulls out a fifth of Scorbys scotch. And he cracks the top off and he's Ah. I said, Jim, can I have some of that? F no. I said, why not? Reaches into the other side of his jacket, pulls out a second one. 'Cause this one's yours. Needless to say, we got pretty shined up that night. We were totally hammered. And my curse is that when I drink, I remember every stupid thing I did. You know, so Jimmy, he had a rough life, and he lived rough, and he had a hard time, and in and out of jail, on and off with girlfriends, and so Jimmy, wherever you are, if you can even remotely hear me, this is for you, buddy. You were a good friend to me, and he really was. If I needed anything, he was there. He was there. Just like my buddy Wally. You're never poor if you have good friends. Because money really can't buy real friendship. It just can't. Remember that. Cultivate real friendships through honor and dignity and respect. And you'll never be a poor man, and you'll never want. So Jimmy, this is to you. Well, guys, we're into this almost a half an hour. And like I said, Rod and Hammer's whiskey, winter spice whiskey, made in San Luis Obispo. It's really good. Oh, there's a recipe for a spiced hot toddy. I just might try that later tonight. Anyway, if you get a chance to try it, this bottle was over $40, so it wasn't inexpensive. Quorum Shade. It's a good cigar by the J.C. Newman Cigar Company. So until next time, later, mater.
Dumont, the world's largest organization devoted exclusively to television and electronics, television receivers, television network, television picture tubes, telecasting equipment, electronic equipment, research. Dumont, first with the finest in television.